Section 2.2.RA-1. The following data represent the number of potholes on 35 randomly selected 1-mile stretches of highway around a particular city. We want to complete parts A through D to the right. Now the first part we want to do is construct a frequency distribution of the data. And recall that a frequency distribution lists each category or class of data and the number of occurrences for each category of data. While either technology or a by-hand method could be used to construct a frequency distribution, for this problem, use technology. You're going to enter the given data into statistical software, StatCrunch, or a calculator, and construct the distribution. And then read the frequencies from the software output. Before we do that, let's go ahead and just do one by hand. So what particular cities only have one pothole? Well, we're going to highlight that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see here that's how we get the 10. Okay. Now, if we want to be able to do this, instead of doing this by hand, I'm going to pull that assignment up here. Now, to the top right, you're going to see in this corner where it says click to copy table. So you're going to open it up in StatCrunch. So it's going to pull the data into StatCrunch. Okay, so from here, now the data says number of potholes, and now it's listed in this particular column. So we're going to go ahead and then select Stat, and then go to Tables, and then select Frequency. And then we want to make sure that we pull the number of potholes into that column, so we're going to select that. And since we want to be able to figure out what is the frequency, we're going to make sure that that's what's selected here in blue. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Compute. So let me copy this table to make sure that we have it correct on our screen. And from the looks of it, looks like we are correct. So we got 10, 7, 5, 5, 3, 3, 2, and that's how we get the frequency distribution of part A. Now for part B, it says construct a relative frequency distribution of the data. And remember that the relative frequency is the proportion or percentage of observations within a category or class. A relative frequency distribution lists each category or class of data together with the relative frequency. While either technology or by hand method could be used to construct relative frequency distribution, for this problem we're going to use technology. And then we're going to enter the given data into the software and create a relative frequency distribution with the desired classes. And then read the relative frequency distributions from the software output, rounding it to 3 decimal places. Well, first and foremost, in order for us to figure out what is the relative frequency, the number that we got for 1 was 10. And then we got to figure out what is the sum of the frequencies, meaning that we need to add these all up. Now, it gives you the sum here in that list. So at the top, you should see what the count is. And the count is already at here at 35. Okay, so we know that the total is going to be 35, and if we take each one of these numbers, for example, if we take 10 and divide it by 35, then we're going to get this amount. Now, the one thing we want to make sure that we do, like on a calculator, let's enter in 10 divided by 35. Okay, we got to round it to 3 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3, here's 5. We got to round up because this is a 7, so we get 0.286. Okay, and then we would continue to do the same for each particular value. Now let's go back and do that on StatCrunch. So we have the same information here. Okay, and what we want to do is we now want to generate a relative frequency distribution. So we're going to select Stat, and then go to Tables, and then go to Frequency again. We're going to make sure that we select number of potholes, and then this time we're going to select relative frequency. So we're going to go ahead and compute that. There's your relative frequency. So let me copy this table into our assignment. Okay, and as you can see, this should match the data that we have above. So we just need to make sure that we round each particular number to 3 decimal places. So again, it's just a quicker calculation of being able to do that. Part C, using the results from Part B it says what percentage of the stretches of highway have 3 potholes? So we need to look at where we have 3 potholes. So here's 3, and that is the relative frequency that we have. Okay, so now we're going to find that relative frequency of 3 potholes in the distribution, which is what we did, and then we're going to multiply it by 100 to express it as a percent. So we're going to take 0.143, multiply it by 100, and then we end up getting 14.3%. So we round it to we move the decimal place over to the right 2 places to get 14.3%. Okay, now it says, using the results from part B, what percentage of the stretches of highway have 5 or more potholes? So remember that the relative frequency distribution from part B lists each category of data or number of potholes together with the relative frequency. The relative frequency distribution is reproduced below. So we're going to sum together the relative frequencies for each number of potholes greater than or to the given value. So it's asking us for 5 or more, so we got to look at 5. Go ahead and... So we're looking at 5, 6, and 7. So we take 0.86 plus 0.86 plus 0.07, and then we multiply that by 100 to get 22.9%.